I have got a crochet confession, and I'm not really ready to come clean about it, but the end of the year is nigh and I feel like I need to address this elephant in the room. So if you haven't figured out what that elephant is, it's my temperature blanket, and I have failed miserably. I am Shannon from Shannon Talks Yarn, and if you got swept up at the beginning of the year into a temperature blanket frenzy of all the cool temperature blankets out there, you are not alone, because I was right there with you. You know, I never thought that I wanted to make a temperature blanket, but when the first of the year happened and a bunch of people were making cool ones, I kind of got swept up into the hype and thought, I can do this and I can put my own spin on this. To be honest, I really liked the format I came up with. I purchased a whole bunch of yarn. I did start on it. There was a couple issues I was dealing with. Number one, some probable undiagnosed ADHD. So little tedious things, I really struggle. I am so great at hyper focus and cranking out, really fun projects and just like tuning out the whole world and doing like a shawl on a Saturday or, 5 hats in a weekend. But to sit down and have to look at what the temperatures were, pick out the yarns, all of that stuff on a daily basis, I just did not have the focus for. So, I wouldn't call that in any way like a personality trait failure or anything like that, but it just was not a project that I don't believe was matched up well with my particular skill set. And in fact, it was a project that had the opposite of my skill set. That was the main issue. And I guess that would kind of come with the secondary one, in that January and February in Iowa are very, very cold. There is not a lot of difference in temperatures. So this was something where I was using the same couple colors over and over and over. And it was using a lot more of certain yarns than I thought. But really, it was just kind of the boredom factor. So I feel like those two kind of go together. Now, I really liked, I'm going to show you my January, because January was totally finished. It did turn out way bigger than I thought. This was a 2-weight yarn, and I was holding 2 strands of it together. I will bring that up closer here. So what I decided I wanted to do is do a granny square, just as basic as possible, but start, day 1 through whatever it was going to. And then I had to have a row to make them all equal, because some days have less, or some months have less days than others. So I did need a border color, and some months in my mind would have, a larger border than others, just so that they would all be the same size and I could attach them together. But I definitely anticipated this as being smaller than it was. So once I got this first month done, and I mean, this is like decent, like baby blanket size almost. You can see it goes from my shoulder to a little over my wrist. So the whole premise was doing the highs and lows of every day. Because I thought, the one thing Iowa does have is, pretty big high and low swings in some days. So I thought I could pair 2 yarns up. That way you'd get a more accurate representation of what Iowa was really like. And I will go ahead and I will put in, I have a slide that I used in my initial temperature blanket videos where you can see all the colors. This is all Hirschner's Afghan yarn. You can see just the colors and the temperatures and stuff I have. And I will have my other videos to videos I made. I will have those linked as well if you want to see them, because I still really like the idea of this. It just isn't feasible for me. So this may end up, if I end up finishing February. Although this is as big as February is, so I probably won't finish it. I could always do like a pillow or something. But I mean, you can see just how temperatures were not varied at all. Because I had so many of the different yarns for the different colors, and there's a few in here I did not get to use in my blankets as well, but I had 2 of these buckets. At the time, I had a kitten that was about 5 months old. He's, you know, a little over a year now. There's no way I could have had all of these strings. I mean, just having 2 strings attached at any given time. So I could not take this project other places in my house. It had to stay up here in my yarn room. And this is a guest room. It has 3 exposed walls. Does that make sense? Like 3 exterior walls and only 1 interior wall. It is pretty chilly, and this is a farmhouse that is, you know, 120 years old. So it's just not the warmest anyway. So even if I had a little space heater going up here, you know, sitting down to work for an hour or 2, my hands were just numb. They were so cold. And that did present another obstacle for me. Now, I was kind of embarrassed about this for a while, and I did feel like a little bit of a failure because I had made the 2 videos where I was so flippin' excited about it. And you know, I was excited to share this project, and like I said, I still really like the idea of it. I just can't implement it. I was disappointed in myself, and I was also disappointed because I spent like 70 some bucks in yarn for this project. And while there has been other times that I have spent $70 in yarn, if you have seen like any of my my Hobby Lobby annual sale event, you'll know I can spend $70 in yarn. But it was the fact that I picked all of these out for this project and then to not use them, I was disappointed in myself. So we have all thought that a project or a pattern or a yarn would be different than it is, but I felt like this was such a big undertaking. I mean, you know, I had made the videos, I had made the little slides where I, you know, had all my, I wouldn't say a slide, what would you call it? Like a, not a grid, but a legend where, you know, you match up the temperatures with the colors. And I had just put a lot of heart into designing it, and then just could not focus enough to execute it properly. So I was embarrassed, and I did feel like I had failed on this project. On the upside though, I did find out that I do really like this yarn, and I have actually been using it in different projects. A video that has done really well on my channel is the how to crochet with velvet yarn and not have it turn out wormy. And what I did in that video was I paired velvet yarn with a coordinating Afghan yarn, and it just blends in really nice, and it's soft and you can't really see it. So that was a huge breakthrough for me because I had some failed velvet yarn mishaps before. So this was really helpful, and I'm really glad that I did do that and that I had this yarn, because I would not have thought to have ever tried that had it not for me having this surplus of Afghan yarn. On the upside as well, when I designed the colors for this blanket, I did pick out colors that I like. I did not go with like the traditional Roy G. Biv you know, red to blue for hot to cold scenario. I went with colors that I liked and enjoyed, and that would go well with my house. So potentially I can still use these yarns in a ton of other projects, just slowly as it goes along. So it isn't like it was a waste of yarn. It's not as if I won't use this yarn. I actually think I might work on doing like a pretty shawl or something, but as I'm looking at this yarn, I'm looking at another yarn right over there that I made a shawl out of, and it's like almost identical. So maybe this one isn't the right one. Maybe I should do this one. You know, this is great to have, and it's nice and drapey. And I am on kind of a shawl / triangle scarf kick right now. So I think that might be a good idea. So all is not lost, but yeah, I kind of wish that I never would have started this project. Let me know if you have gotten caught up in the moment. You know, maybe it was like a crochet along or knit along or just temperature blanket. Definitely let me know. Side note, there was a gal at work and we were talking about crochet, and she doesn't know about my channel, but we were talking about it and she had never heard of a temperature blanket. So I had explained it to her, and then you know, once in a while she comes in my office and, you know, she's like current. And so then again, it just kind of like rubs it in or like digs the knife in a little bit deeper that I'm the one who told her it existed and I couldn't execute mine. And her temperature blanket's like current, up to date, going great. She loves it. So yeah, I am going to kind of pretend that this never happened. And this will be the last video in the temperature blanket series, and that is going to be okay, and we are going to move on, and we are going to make lemonade and use these yarns for lots of other things. So I just thought it was important as the year winds down, and if you go exploring on my channel, checking out some different playlists or older videos or anything, and you saw those and then realized there was never any updates, yeah, here's why. Here is why. I just bit off more than I could mentally chew, and I love the idea. I think that if you are a person who has great attention to detail and can just leave all your stuff sitting out and just work on it a little bit every day, I think this is a great project. I still stand by my design. It's just unfortunately not for me. So thank you for listening to my crochet thank you for listening to my crochet why can't I say this? Thank you for listening to my crochet confession. I hope I don't have many more of these, but I am going to go on a limb and trust that you guys are my friends and you will be supportive and not, you know, and help me feel better about this and not worse. So thank you so much for letting me talk yarn with you today. If you made it to the very end, I certainly appreciate it. I will have a video that I will link up here. And as for now, thank you again for talking yarn with me. Bye, guys.